Welcome to the Humans in AI podcast, powered by AI Frontier Network. I'm your host, Flor Laorga. Each episode, we dive into the human story shaping artificial intelligence through the journeys of entrepreneurs, builders, and leaders. We explore the insights, challenges, and visions for the future of AI and humanity. Let's uncover the human side of AI together. Hi, Anand. Thank you very much for joining Humans in AI podcast, hosted by AI Frontier Network and by me. Flor, I appreciate you accept our invitation. I think we already interviewed actually the other co-founder, CEO Pantic, but we did it with AI Time Journal in the past. So yeah, say hi from here. Hi if he's listening at some point.
Yes, I will. And thank you for having me on the show, Flor.
Great. Let's start. I really like your story. You came from working from big companies in a corporate one, and then you become like an entrepreneur. So it's like very impressive like jump, because it's like entrepreneurship is not an easy journey. So before starting everything, I would like to understand what motivates you to do that change, that jump towards this being a startup visionary.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Flor, my journey spans more than 3 decades. And two of them, the initial 2 decades when I started working, was in large corporates, some of the largest companies of their time. Fortunately, I was fortunate with to work with them during their peak and during their cycles. The last role that I had was at Symantec. And at Symantec, what I saw over the 8, 9 years journey in the security, at the core of security, Symantec at that time was the largest security player. There were three core issues that were plaguing customers globally. The first was they were left to themselves to answer this question of, are they secured? Are they compliant? And in event of an attack, will they be in a position to respond to it in time? And this question by all security vendors was, including Symantec, was left for the customer to fend for themselves. The second issue that I saw was large corporations ended up becoming aggregators of technology. So they would buy a lot of these new innovations that would come out in the market. And as a result, the customer again was left to themselves to figure out what they need to buy from the menu card approach that most of these large companies would provide. So, while the question of security was unanswered, the buying cycle of security was left to the customer to go and decide what they need in order to protect themselves. And third, the world was going through a massive digital transformation for the decade preceding 2013. And the expectation was, with the advent of 5G and other satellite communications and other, there would be, and ML, now it is called AI. So with the advent of ML and AI, world would change in terms of the needs for security. So these three big drivers, having worked in Symantec, IBM, Sun Microsystems at their peak time, it motivated me to take a plunge into entrepreneurship and see if we can solve this problem with a very simple vision, which to date continues to be our vision, which is to simplify security and to consolidate the landscape so that you don't leave it for the customer or for somebody to answer that question of security, compliance, and response. So we said we will come out with our technologies and our offerings and interweave services around it so that customers get an answer to these three questions of security, compliance, and response in a consolidated and a simplified way. So that's the driver for us to exist today.
That's beautiful. I guess that right now you're talking about your company, Securetek. So yeah, I already knew about the company before actually. So that's why I was very interested in interviewing you, because I like what you guys are doing. On all this journey of from working in these giants companies like IBM and Symantec, and now being your leader in your own company, right? So how does it shape the way that you think about leadership?
Yeah, so very different. When you're working for a large company, the big question that you always have to ask yourself is the success for what you do because of you or in spite of you. So is the customer buying something because you are selling an IBM or a Symantec offering, or they are buying because they like what you are doing as an individual, as a team, as a person, and it is a relationship that they are buying into. That's one. And the same thing applies for internal colleagues and teams that you end up managing or teams that you become a part of. Is the success because of you in that team? Is the team successful because you are a significant contributor? Or the team continues to succeed despite you because the corporation has its own brand and has its own way of operating. In IBM's case, it was heavily process driven, and so for everything they had the processes in place. In Symantec's case they were number one, or in Sun Microsystems case they were number one, and so there was always that natural market pull that was available. So for us as a leadership style in Securetech, one of the biggest decision for me as an individual was to see whether I will be successful because Securetech was a brand new brand and nobody knew about it. So whether we will be successful because of us, me and all my other colleagues here in the organization, or we will have to go and create a brand for us to be successful. So that was a big leadership decision point. And of course, when you are starting something grounds up, a lot of assumptions, especially if you come from a large corporate background, a lot of assumptions that you make, you have to revisit them and recalibrate them, which is what happened for us. So a lot of small leadership decisions, but I think two important things that stand out as I reflect on it. First is what I just said is a success because of us or despite us. And the second big thing that matters is, will I be relevant to my customers, or will I be relevant in the marketplace 2 years out or 3 years out? So, all the technology bets, all the decisions that you take, and eventually the customer will end up purchasing something from you. Will I be relevant in the marketplace? Will I be relevant for that customer? Will my colleagues learn and develop technology that will be useful for their own career growth? Relevance, staying relevant, and staying successful together, I think has been the defining block for what we do at SecureTech.
That's great. Now talking a little bit, I know that you guys are a cybersecurity global company, but how does AI influence in your company as you as a leader and your team and your colleagues, and as well a way to lead the team, and how your team as well embrace the AI, or how do you even use it for you in your company?
Again, fortunately for us in 2013 November when we started, we took three important bets for the company. The first was a technology bet where we said that we will develop everything using machine learning. So every offering that we have in the market, we said machine learning will be at the core. So for us, we are proud to say that bet in 2013 today translates to a lot of AI, but that bet on machine learning became the most important and significant bets for the company. The second was, of course, investment in core security research. And the third was to make sure that we have a go to market which aligns well with our target market segment. But going back to the first point on AI, we are an AI born company before AI was mainstream language. As I said, ML was the mainstream or was getting into a mainstream language at that point in time. Today, if I fast forward 11 and a half years of our journey, we do multiple things in AI. So we have the core detection engine that we use is generation 3 or generation 4 AI, depending on which part of the engine you look at. So in real time, if I was to detect threats, behavior anomalies, detect attacks that are happening on customer environment or in a specific geography, and we do this for a lot of customers, more than 200 such customers, and a lot of data volume across these customers. That is the core engine is AI for us. Second, we today do a lot of our search on Gen AI and large language model. So customers today can go and find that one trend that they are interested in their data across the months and years of data that resides with our cloud. The third is we are using this whole concept of agentic AI, especially doing routine tasks or tasks which are repeatable. We are trying to bring agentic AI into the environment. Our products today support agentic AI, and it therefore addresses some of the routine tasks on its own. And fourth, we are bringing in some new technologies, specifically in small language models, solving specific security issues related to attack types, patterns, malware, user behavior, entity behavior. So for us, AI, like I said, is the core to our existence. We took that bet early in our cycle at the right at the foundation time, and they continue to be important. And therefore our colleagues, all my team members, they are used to AI being a part of using AI being a part of their day-to-day coding or support or delivery functions that they may be involved in.
Okay, so yeah, I believe that you guys were using AI. I didn't know that you were doing so many things actually related with AI. Actually, I guess that's the normal thing now. So I know that we already talk about the why you are doing Securitech as a founder and CEO, but I would like to touch a little bit more personal side. What I mean with this is, was there a personal mission or drive behind the technology? I know that you did it for technology to help people with the threats and things, but there's something a bit deeper, a bit a more personal side of you.
So I think as I reflect back, I was in the probably in the corporate role at the age of 37 as a CEO for India Asia in one of the largest security companies. So two options at a personal front I had then. One was to continue being a part of the leadership team for some of these large corporations all my life, or go and create a value for myself as I create a value for my customer and get into entrepreneurship. Of course, both the paths were difficult. The first path was you have to continue to navigate the large corporate politics, and you have to continue navigate and put effort to be relevant in that corporate politic and corporate environment. And the second one was to create jobs, create opportunities, create value for you and for other people who are willing to believe in you. And so for me, I gravitated more towards making that decision for entrepreneurship. In the hindsight, I'm very happy in this 11 and a half years that I did that. But at that time, it was a big decision because you are used to working in a corporate job. There's a lifestyle associated with a corporate job, a lot of things. As I said, the success despite you or success because of you is one single thing because your visiting card carries that success with you. Okay. Here you are starting from grounds up, and at a personal level, that was a big decision to make. More than me, my family had to make a big decision along with me.
Yeah, I think this is the things that we don't talk publicly very much about actually how challenging is building a company, how challenging is building something that it can make it successful, like you guys have done it, obviously. And that's why. So about let's talk a little bit about I would like to focus a little bit now, right, about the challenges and what do you learn from your challenges. Was any moment when things almost fell apart but taught you something lasting that you were like, I will keep pushing through even though that I feel like I'm wanna give up? Because I feel like those feelings sometimes, many times maybe when you are in this challenging journey can pop in your mind, maybe even for a second.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, to be honest, a lot of times those feelings come in, and a lot of times we have failed. And in my opinion, most of the companies would have gone through their own journey. For us, a lot of decisions that we took, while there were really good decisions that has allowed us to succeed and float and continue to stay successful, there are a lot of tactical decisions that we took along the way, which in hindsight, we could have done a better job at. For example, we decided when I started the company, I said, coming from a corporate world, we said we should go with some of the biggest and the best names available there. And they should look at us positively because we were a company at that time out of India, and the government should be very supportive. And they were, there's no question about it. But we just felt it would be a red carpet rolled out. It was very foolish of us to think that way. We had obviously to prove ourselves, we had to develop the right technology, compete with every global player, and earn our success. That was at the beginning of the journey for us. When in 2018 we decided we will launch with Percept EDR, again we felt it was a failed launch. In hindsight, it was a big failure because we spent a lot of money. Some of the largest conferences in the world we attended, did benchmarks of the product. The product was very good, fared very well in the benchmarks. But we realized a year down the line that to sell that specific product is a lot of marketing and brand building investment that we did not do. We invested heavily on the technology, forgetting that the market is going to need a lot of brand building and advertising and marketing dollars for us to push the product. So we had to repivot our strategy, add other components to the portfolio. Big failure at that point in time. In hindsight, I can say that because we are doing pretty well. But yeah, big failure then. And same thing happened when we decided to go international and launch ourselves in US. The entire initial team, both I and Pankit, my partner, we felt we could run it remote, hire the best talent out there, give them whatever they need. That's how we have worked in the corporate world, and they will succeed. And to our, not a surprise actually, but to our learning, they didn't succeed. So we ended up burning a lot of money, and we had to rethink the strategy. And part of the reason why I am here, although reason why I am here is we then decided one of us have to be here if this is an important market for us to grow. So a lot of small failures, but these are the three big ones that I can think of the cuff for this conversation.
Thank you for sharing these vulnerabilities. I think many people think that most of the companies, when they're successful or they look successful from outside, it's because they've been always successful. And I think it's most of the success comes from failure. Like you have to fail first to be in order to succeed because you need to learn.
Yep.
You learn way more with failure. Thank you very much. I really like these stories though. Yeah, you wore many hats. You started as being as a service manager to CEO that you are. So how has your personality, but let's say more like your personal identity evolved through these roles?
I think there are two things that I follow today. That's what I tell my children also. I'm first to work every day, every single day, and I'm last to step out every single day. And whatever inefficiencies that I may have on competency and other things, I think I just make it up by spending more time reading more, learning more, talking to more customers, talking to more employees. That's my everyday routine. And that has helped me in all these 30 years. And I hope I continue that energy for me. The second thing is I always strive to be relevant in creating value for whatever I'm touching. If I'm talking to my colleagues and my employees, I have to make sure that I understand what is in it for them, what will make them successful, and align our goals to that. If I'm talking to the customer, again, is it good for the customer? Is the customer going to be, in Securetek's case, is the customer going to be more secure and more protected and better ability to respond? So I keep on striving towards that. And to my investors, it's the same challenge. Am I really generating the growth that they expect of me? If they are investing $1, am I able to generate the growth that is expected from that dollar? Those are the things that I sum up as saying staying relevant. So first to work, last to get out, and being relevant during the period that I spend there. That has been the mantra, at least for me personally, that I follow every day.
Beautiful. So, as a leader, what are the values that you try to teach or guide to your team?
Yeah, I think the biggest value that I embody myself, I try to be embody myself and tell everyone is Integrity, very high integrity. We are in the business of trust. Security is a business of trust. If I don't have, and trust in Asian cultures have a very different connotation, very different connotation, very high bar when you say I can trust somebody. So I keep on talking about this to my colleagues. I've been fortunate in my corporate world to work with leaders who have taught me this understanding of and the value of trust and how you can, what does it take to build that. So for me, integrity, personal integrity, and a very high trust, whether it is to my customers, my investors, my employees, my colleagues, these are very important values for me.
I think the integrity is very important, actually. Yeah, I actually I didn't get it. That trust is so true. So
Yeah.
about trust. I I feel like you're such a wise person. I know that you got like you've been you've been already out there for more than 25 years between your corporate and as a entrepreneur too.
A little over 33 years. Yeah.
Oh, 33. I'm sorry. I don't know. Oh, even more. Oh my God.
But
That's why
who's
you it's
counting?
Oh no, I don't know why I thought it was 25
No,
years.
no, no worries.
More than
No.
30, I knew that it was more than 25, but I didn't know that it was already 33. So that's why your wisdom where now I understand better why your
But
wisdom
I'm
comes
not
from.
retiring, Flor, so don't worry. I'm here every day first to work.
That's great. So you can keep sharing your wisdom with your team and with the people. That's great. So talking a little bit because I found it very interesting that all the things that you've been learning through your journey, but I would like to ask you something that I always like to think as well in general in life, but it's have you ever had a community or a mentor that really play a important role in your growth, especially during tough transitions?
Yeah, I think I've been very lucky to have really good bosses and really good colleagues. And I say it from the bottom of my heart. Really lucky to have people who have supported me, have been helpful in making my decisions, transitions, and that I have been able to learn from. So quite a few people that I have been able to learn from. And to this date, fortunately, we all are in touch. I keep on sharing my success, keep on taking their advice, and keep on learning from the mistakes that I make. And we make quite a lot of small mistakes. Fortunately, there are good set of people that have been there, done that. But if one thing that stands out apart from all of this is the cycle that we did with the seed transformation program by Stanford University. Both I and Pankit were a part of the seed transformation program. The colleagues, the camaraderie that we built over there with all other entrepreneurs who were a part of the journey, and the learnings that came in because of the Stanford Graduate School of Business professors teaching us, that was transformational for us. In fact, the program had the final outcome was a transformation plan for the company, which is what we are following. But personal level, it was very transformational because you learned from the best in the industry and you shared it with some of the brightest minds sitting in the room learning alongside you.
Yeah. So could you share like a specific moment, story, person, or situation that and that you've learned from that it really changed almost your life? Let's put it so dramatically like that.
Yeah. I think at a Securetech level, if I were to look at it, the big thing that changed, I told you about one of the decisions we made where we said we will enter US, but we will operate from India, both me and my partner, and we will hire people here and build the brand around them. The learning from that was obviously it didn't work, and therefore, at a snap of a moment, we made a decision that one of us have to be here in US. And because I came from the domain, we decided that I will move here instantly. Big change, dramatic change because my kids were they were about to go to college, and massive change in culture, massive change in it. So at a personal level, massive change. At a professional level, massive change again because all my life I have been in Asia and India. That's where I have sold, that's where I have built relationship. You are suddenly in a different market, different country. While you understand the language, thankfully, The way selling happens here, the way relationships happen here, every country has its own nuances. A massive change that we went through, both at a personal level as well as at a professional level. And I can look back now, 6 years back, and say that had we not made this change, SecureTech in its journey, we would have had to rethink about our options of where to expand and how to expand. But thankfully, because we are here in the US, it's the largest security market. I believe it's a decision, but every step of the decision was a big challenge for us. I think some of all the steps has been a positive outcome.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, most of the times people don't say, but most of the times it's like a very dramatic personal change you have to do first in
Yeah.
order that your professional life succeed.
Yep.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. So like I
So,
said, yeah. Yep. I agree with you.
yeah, do you want to say something else?
Oh, like I said, a big change for the family when you're uprooting somebody from where they have been always, their friends, their teachers, everything. You are uprooting everybody, right? When you are moving countries, you are uprooting everything, different culture, different environment. And whether good or bad, only time can say. So you are taking a momentary decision and then you're working towards making it good. And thankfully for us, everybody around us have been supportive to make it good.
Yeah, that's actually it's I guess that you have good people around you because I can see you're a wise, happy person.
Mm.
Talking a little bit more about your company, Securitech. It's a cybersecurity company. So sometimes from outside, I'm not a security person, so I don't really. Sometimes I confuse. Oh, cybersecurity is such a serious thing, so technical. And whoa. So how do you keep the human element? Like what I mean with the human element is that your team, your clients, your users, to your decisions. Like how do you keep them like that the human part of that technical and cold outside from people that like me we don't really know a lot about cybersecurity.
Yeah, I think it's a two-part approach that we take. One is invest very heavily in the research. So like I said at the start of the organization, while ML was one of the big bet, machine learning was one of the big bet in product development, secure tech research was another big bet we took. We said that unless we understand the changing threat landscape and the moving threat landscape constantly in cybersecurity, we will not be able to come out with right solutions for our customers. So to all my colleagues and internal staff that we have, the biggest thing that we tell our people is to focus on the research, understand the subject as much as possible. We follow this simple principle of depth in one or two areas and breadth in everything security. Depth and breadth is a method that we follow with all our colleagues. To the outside world, we try and figure out how we simplify all this complexity. As you rightly said, there's so many jargons. There's in any industry, security has a lot of jargons, a lot of technical stuff, pretty complex stuff. So how do we simplify this for our customers? And how do we offer it in a manner where they don't get overwhelmed? A lot of our target market is mid-size and companies which who have less security staff, right? And who cannot invest into hundreds and thousands of people just doing security. They have very small security staff. They depend on us to be their trusted advisor. So our effort is to see how we can be that trusted advisor by simplifying the language, by simplifying the outcomes, by simplifying the different things that we discuss with them.
Okay, so I've got two more questions for you, so we are kind of going towards the end. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot, by the way.
Thank you.
I always like to dream about the future. How do you hope your story influences the next generation of cybersecurity leaders?
Yeah, fortunately, in the space that I am, there is never a dull day. It is always exciting because there are bad actors all around the place. And these bad actors, sometimes when they get support from state sponsored actors, It's a little combination because now you have bad actors with infinite resources. There's always something to learn in cybersecurity. Fortunately, the space is very dynamic. So, to my colleagues, to the future generation, I think I have a simple take here. Keep on investing in the depth, keep on learning the breadth. And if you do that, if AI is the depth that you want to get into, keep on investing there. There are newer and newer AI areas that will come into picture. If security threat detection is the depth that you want to get into, keep on investing more, learning into that. But don't forget the breadth, how the overall security market is moving, how the overall components interact with each other, how they help customers simplify their story or their defense mechanism, right?
Yeah. So I've got one last question for you, and this is an open question that I always make because I like to I like to give the freedom to the guests to choose something. Like if you want to share an advice, you want to share something that we haven't talked about, or if you want to talk a bit more about something that we didn't go too deep. So yeah, this is a question that or you would like to answer for yourself, for your.
Yeah, like I said, there are three rules that I probably would want to see in people to follow, or even for me. I can't be the judge for others, but for me that I follow. One is work hard, stay on top of your subject. You should know your subject as much, if not better, than the others that you are interacting with. And that is something that you can do it by working hard and staying on top of that. Second is be relevant always. Okay, it doesn't matter what role. There are hundreds of thousands of companies globally. So you could say easily there are hundreds of thousands of CEOs globally. So how can you be relevant in that journey? Okay. If there are many security companies, thousands of security companies out there, and yours is just one of them. So how can you be relevant in that space? It's a crowded space. Every industry is a crowded industry. So how can you be a relevant player in that industry? So being relevant, working hard, and staying on top of the subject that you want to master. I think those are the three things that I follow for myself. I keep on following it and learning. I hope that others do the same for their own journeys.
Thank you very much, Anand. It's so I really liked it as well. I have a great time in this interview. I want to thank you for coming to being here with me and sharing all this wonderful information and very a lot of things to learn from. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me, Flor.
Thanks for listening to the Humans in AI podcast. We are here to spotlight the people making AI more human, one story at a time. See you in the next episode.